Does that include Drew University, for instance? They don't have to have it at basketball games, wrestling matches,
We don't have,
etc.
he's made the same determination, like Shakespeare Theater, we don't have a fire marshal present for their performances. They have 300 seats there. The mayor is, I believe, is the honorary chair, so she's can attest that the fire marshal is not present for that. Sporting events, we do not. It would be where there's, in the opinion of the fire official, there's a public health emergency due to evacuation or condition that would warrant his presence or her presence to be present for the event.
Okay. How about political gatherings?
We definitely
Nobody
wouldn't have
goes
50
to those
people.
things.
Yes.
There's a sanity check before that's about
That's right. That's right. Is there anyone else wishing to be heard on this ordinance? Seeing none, I'll close the hearing.
I move ordinance 5-2010.
Second.
Is there any council discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Ms. Bailey?
Yes.
Mr. Conley?
Yes.
Mrs. Sukamoto?
Yes.
Dr. Esposito?
Yes.
Mr. Cerciello?
Yes.
Mr. Lynch?
Yes.
I declare ordinance 5-2010 adopted and finally passed, and ask the clerk to publish notice thereof in the newspaper and to file ordinance in accordance with the law. Introduction of ordinances.
Ordinances scheduled for first reading have a hearing date set for February the 22nd, 2010. All will be published in the Madison Eagle, posted on the bulletin board, and made available to members of the public requesting copies.
I call up the ordinances for first reading and ask the borough clerk to read said ordinances by title.
Ordinance 6-2010, ordinance of the Borough of Madison appropriating $30,000 from the General Capital Improvement Fund for 2010 sanitary sewer pump station repairs.
I move.
Is there a second?
I second.
Is there any council discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Ms. Bailey?
Yes.
Mr. Conley?
Yes.
Mrs. Sukamoto?
Yes.
Dr. Esposito?
Yes.
Mr. Cerciello?
Yes.
Mr. Lynch?
Yes.
Ordinance 7-2010, ordinance of the Borough of Madison appropriating $60,000 from the Water Capital Improvement Fund for 2010 water well pump station control repairs.
I move.
I second ordinance 7-2010.
Is there council discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Ms. Bailey?
Yes.
Mr. Conley?
Yes.
Mrs. Sukamoto?
Yes.
Dr. Esposito?
Yes.
Mr. Cerciello?
Yes.
Mr. Lynx?
Yes.
Ordinance number 8. Number 8?
Yes. Ordinance 8-2010, ordinance of the Borough of Madison repealing ordinance 4-73 set forth in Chapter 122 of the Borough Code entitled Loitering. Do you want me to read it in full?
Sure.
Whereas the Borough Attorney has recommended that ordinance 4-73 set forth in Chapter 122 of the Borough Code entitled Loitering be repealed, and whereas the Borough Council has determined that there is a need to repeal ordinance 4-73 set forth in Chapter 122 of the Borough Code. Now therefore be it ordained by the Council of the Borough of Madison in the County of Morris, State of New Jersey as follows. Section 1, all provisions of Chapter 122 of the Borough Code are hereby deleted. Ordinance 4-73 is hereby repealed. Section 2, Chapter 122 of the Borough Code shall state that it is reserved, and Section 3, this ordinance shall take effect as provided by law.
I move ordinance 8-2010.
Second.
Thank you.
Is there any council discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Ms. Bailey?
Yes.
Mr. Conley?
Stop loitering.
She started my name
Yes.
with an L.
Mrs. Sukamoto?
Yes.
Dr. Esposito?
Yes.
Mr. Cerciello?
Yes.
Mr. Lynx?
Yes.
Consent agenda resolutions.
Consent agenda resolutions will be enacted with a single motion. Any resolution requiring expenditure is supported by a certification of availability of funds. Any resolution requiring discussion will be removed from the consent agenda. All resolutions will be reflected in full in the minutes.
I move resolution. Consent agenda resolutions R 51, R 54 as amended, R 56, R 57, R 59, through R65, 2010.
Second.
Mayor, there's a correction that should be read into the record on R54.
Okay.
It's a revision. The third whereas should read, whereas the anticipated term of the contract is for the balance of 2010 and may be extended as approved by this governing body.
Okay. It was moved as amended, but thank you for reading that into the record. Ms. Tsukamoto?
Mayor, I remove R51 from the consent agenda resolutions and would like to add 66 later. R51 actually
Is now
became
66.
51 was removed from previous agenda and the number retired, so to reconsider it, we have to make it number 66.
All right, so the one that's at your place tonight,
We need to read this.
51. Yep.
We need to,
It's posted.
is it posted, Liz?
Yes.
All right, then you don't need to read it into that.
So you can add it to the.
So I would like to add Resolution 66-2010.
Second.
any council discussion? Anything anyone wants held out? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Ms. Bailey?
Yes.
Mr. Conley?
Yes.
Mrs. Sukamoto?
Yes.
Dr. Esposito?
Yes.
Mr. Cercielo?
Yes.
Mr. Lynx?
This time I'll open the meeting for discussion with the public on any questions you would like to ask. It doesn't have to be a topic that's on the agenda. If you will step to the lectern, print your name and address, and state it in an audible tone so it may be caught for the record. Is there anyone who would like to address the council at this time? Mr. Brunner.
Hi, Don Brunner, 20 Roman Drive. I'd just like to ask, I noticed Mr. Cercielo had a letter to the Eagle about the asbestos in the Harley Dodge Memorial. I just wondered, could you explain more what you were trying to explain with that letter?
You asking me that
Yeah.
question? I have an opinion about my concerns with what's going on at the Borough Hall, and I just suggested, I told people what my opinion was, and it's just my opinion. In other words, in my opinion, I would have done things differently. If I had any input at that time, but at that time I had no input.
Are the council going to discuss this, or no?
That's his opinion.
Okay,
It's his opinion, and
okay. Well, that's it, huh?
okay, thank
No,
you.
wait, just, Joe,
Another one?
you're having your budget meeting at 6:30 Thursday night. Do you expect it to go to 11 o'clock at night, or why are you having it so early in the evening?
I don't know, if people like you keep getting up and asking all these questions, we might be. We're open to, hopefully we don't have to. We've held a very tight schedule on the budget hearings, and I don't think they've gone maybe 2 hours.
Is there any reason you're having it at 6:30 instead of like 8 o'clock?
We actually, we changed
It's
him to
7 o'clock on the schedule.
I have 6:30.
I have
on mine.
6:32.
This is what we got from,
Originally, what we were trying to do was clear out the room to accommodate the
You did
zoning
this
board,
last
but
time.
what the zoning board did was they moved to a different evening.
yes. Oh,
It's advertised at 6:30.
Okay.
6:30.
Right,
yeah.
still 6:30, okay.